Assalamualaikum and hi to Encik Muhammad Jeffrey bin Nasir. We are from Group 13 would like to present this assignment. The title for the assignment is Data Set of a Prices of Futures Captures several places with 116 observations. Set B. Before we start these explanations, I would like to introduce my group member. These group members only have 6 members only. Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is NURIEN ARIEYSHA binti MATNOR. My meeting number is A21A3398. Today, I would like to present my part. 1.0 Data Descriptions. Data set known as a collection of connected, discrete elements of related data that can be accessed separately in combinations or as a full entity. Statistics is a branch of mathematics concerned with summarizing, analyzing, interpreting a set of number of observations. The data set could potentially be used to develop algorithms for testing particular types of software. SPSS, a modern statistical analyzing software, support us in analyzing the data set we've chosen. Based on the assignment, we have to choose 60 random cases out of 160 cases. Following that, we are required to choose 2 types of variables. Categorical variables, place, numerical variable, height, width, and width. That's all from me. Next, 2.0 Sampling data and records. Firstly is sampling. Use random sampling technique to select our data size. Lowest metric number that used is 23. Set B. The final data is 60 samples out of 160 cases. Secondly is records. Categorical data that have choose is places. B record with number 1 until 8 with refer according to places. That's all from me.
Next is descriptive measures. For descriptive measures, we have 2 measures, which is categorical and numerical descriptive measures. For categorical, we have place. For place, we have 8 countries, which is Britain, Canada, Ireland, Malaysia, Singapore, Turkey, USA and Vietnam. For the conclusion, Singapore have the largest percentage, which is 23.33%, followed by Canada and USA 21.67%, Turkey 11.67%, Ireland 10%, Britain 5%, and the lowest among the country is Malaysia and Vietnam, which is 3.33%. Next, for numerical descriptive measures, we have to find measures of frequency, central tendency, the measures of position, and the measures of variation. And for numerical descriptive measures, we have 3 numerical, which is weight, height, and width. First of all, to find the measures of central tendency, we have to find the class width of the numerical, which is the class width of weight is 110. Next, after we got the class width of weight, we can find the mean, median, and mode of the central tendency. For the mean, the total is 170.45. For median, we got 133.86, and for mode, we got 211 and 80. Next, for measures of position, we have to find quartiles. For quartiles, Q1, we got 395.95, and for Q3, we got 267.78. And after that, we have to find interquartile range, which is Q3 has to minus Q1, which is we got negative 128.17. For measures of variation, we have to find A, range, and B, variance. For range, the range of weight is 770 because maximum data entry, which is 770.0, minus with minimum data entry, which is 0.0. Next, for variance, we have to find the sample variance for weight is about 23964.15 and the sample standard deviation is about 154.80. 3.2 is measures of central tendency, measures of position, and the measures of variation of height. Number of classes for height is 6. So, for the mean, we can get the mean of height is 5.325. For median, we got 5.94 cm, and for mode, we got 6.37 cm. This is measures of position. Q1 is 3.77 and Q3 is 6.88. So for interquartile range, Q3 minus Q1 6.88 minus 3.77, which is we got 3.11. Next, for the measures of variation, for sample variance we got 0.92 and sample standard we got 0.96. Next, 3.3, measures of frequency, center tendency, measures of position, and the measures of variation of width. For measures of center tendency, for mean we got 3.6203 cm, for median we got 3.625 cm, and for mode we got 3 numbers, which is 1.1484, 3.525 and 4.335, because this number is repeated 2 times. Next, for measures of position, Q1 we got 0.4001, Q3 we got 0, and for interquartile range, Q3 minus Q1, which is 0.4001. And the measures of variation, for range we got 6.4324, and for variance we got 15.6934. Next, for measures of variation, range we got 6.4324, and after that we got sample variance with about 2.8106, and sample standard deviation is about 1.6765.
Good day, I'm DAKSHAYANI, SHIVARAJ, matrix number 821824447. Now I'm going to present the graphical representation. Graphical representation is a method of analyzing numerical data and categorical data. In this assignment, 2 different types of data will be represented according to our data. We use histogram in this assignment to analyze our data. Histogram is a graphical representation in which the data is grouped by the ranges by using contiguous bars. The height of the bar in histogram represents the frequency of a class. Now I'm going to explain the histogram graph for categorical data. Table 1 shows the frequency of the countries. From the graph above, we can notify that Canada have similar frequency with USA, which is 13. For the lowest frequency, Malaysia and Vietnam have same frequency, which is 2. Singapore with the highest frequency, that is 14. Meanwhile, frequency for Britain is 3, Italy is 6, and Turkey is 7. Lastly, I am going to present the histogram graph for numerical data. Table 1 illustrates the weight label as midpoint by classifying in the term of class. From this histogram, we can see that the last 2 classes have the same frequency and the highest frequency is at the midpoint of 54.95. Firstly, we need to find the midpoint to construct the histogram graph. Midpoint can be present from added the lower boundaries and upper boundaries and divided by 2. The midpoint represented the class in the graphs. Frequency refers to the portion or percentage of the data that falls in the class. To sum up, class, midpoint and frequency are imported that assemble the graph, which is histogram. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is FAIZAH and I will present to you guys 5.0, which is numerical descriptive measures. So in this slide is about measure of central tendency, position and variation for weight, height and width. So in this part shows the difference of calculating the data using software and calculating manually. Based on the data, we have get same value and also we have get different value between calculating manually and using software. For example, here we can see the mean for weight by using SPSS is 170.45, while the mean by calculating manually is 153.68. So from here, we can see that the difference between the values is not significant. So now we can continue to the next part. This part is about the graphical comparison. So as you guys can see here on the slide, is a graph that we got from SPSS, and then we compare it with the manual graph, which are from graphical representation in 4.1 and 4.2 part.
Hi, my name is NURUL BINTI Adana. Matric number is A21A2968. Hypothesis aim to conclude a population based on some sample data. It evaluates to measure exclusive statement about a population to determine whether the hypothesis should be rejected or not be rejected. Based on some decision rules. In this part, we are using independent sample test and ANOVA to measure the hypothesis is reasonable and should not be rejected or otherwise be rejected. Correlation analysis. Correlation analysis between two or more variables and computation of their relationship, which is known as correlation analysis. A correlation normally assesses three characteristics at the relationship, such as association, direction, form, and strength. A positive correlation means that the variable are positive relationship, which is r greater than 0, while if negative correlation, the variable are negative relationship is r less than 0. Based on the table is about Pearson correlation analysis by using SPSS software. The value of Pearson product moment occupancy R give an indication of the level correlation between two variables. A value of the near R -1 is strong negative correlation. R near +1 imply a strong positive, and R near 0 is no correlation between variables. We measure the relationship between height, width, and width. We choose 2T because n equal to 16. The value R between width and height is 0.691. Width and width is 0.806. Next, height and width is 0.935. Therefore, V is related to both height and width. There is a moderate positive correlation between independent variables, which is height, width, and width.
The next part, I would like to explain about confidence interval. A confidence interval is the mean of your estimate plus and minus the variation in the estimate. This is the range of values we expect our estimate to fall between if we redo our test. Within a certain level of confidence, by using the SPSS, we collect the result of the 95% confidence interval. For weight, height, lower boundaries is 0.530 and the upper boundaries is 0.804. For weight and width, lower boundaries is 0.694 and the upper boundaries is 0.880. Meanwhile, for height and width, the lower boundaries is 0.892 and the upper boundaries is 0.961. The standard error for weight is 0.002 and for height is 0.205 and for width is 0.416. The next part, it would be prediction modeling. For the prediction modeling, we attached four important statistics such as descriptive statistic, model summary, ANOVA, and confidence interval. Those are the four main statistic or calculation that we attached by using SPSS in the prediction modeling. For the last part, I would like to explain about the concluding remarks. To be concluded, we use only 60 observation or 60 cases out of under 60 sample data that has been given to our group. Out of 7 variables, we have choose only 3 numerical variable and 1 categorical variable. 3 numerical variable are weight, height, and width. Meanwhile, 1 categorical variable are place. We have calculated, in the purpose of assignment, we have calculated the class interval, frequency, cumulative frequency, midpoint, upper boundaries, lower boundaries to complete the graphical representation. We have used various numerical descriptive measures such as measures of tendency, center tendency, measure of position, and measure of variation using the SPSS and by manual calculation to calculate variation in 2 fields. We use the independent sample t-test and ANOVA table to analyze our hypothesis testing. The 5 important steps are used and stated in the report as the alternate hypothesis significant level, SPSS output, decision rule and decision were illustrated in detail in this report. That's all from us. Thank you.